I rented a house with a bloody history because it was cheap. On the first night after moving in, the faucet turned on by itself. I yelled into thin air, "Are you paying the water bill?" The water instantly stopped flowing. I thought that was just the beginning of the ghost not bothering me. Unexpectedly, the next day, I saw a main course with 2 side dishes prepared on the dining table. Golden crispy roast chicken, creamy garlic mashed potatoes, and butter-glazed green beans were artfully arranged on the kitchen counter. The vibrant colors and mouth-watering aromas made my stomach growl. Instantly. As someone who'd been surviving on microwave meals for years, I had to resist the urge to drool all over the spread. Eventually, hunger won over hesitation. Gently picking up the carving knife, I sliced myself a piece of juicy chicken. The moment it touched my tongue, flavors exploded like fireworks. I swear I saw stars. It was so good I could have eaten my own tongue. Like a starving animal, I devoured everything in sight, leaving the plate spotless. Satisfied, I leaned back with a contented sigh and patted my pleasantly full belly. "You're amazing," I said aloud to the empty room. "Can't wait to see tomorrow's menu." Then I headed out for work that evening. The comforting aroma of dinner greeted me as soon as I opened the door. Miraculously, another freshly cooked meal awaited. Tender braised beef smothered in rich gravy, fragrant sautéed spinach, stretchy mac and cheese and steaming vegetable soup. Once again, I shamelessly cleaned every plate. After 3 days of free gourmet meals, guilt finally crept in. This ghost roommate wasn't just polite. They were downright domestic. Grabbing a yellow sticky note, I scrolled, "Hey. What should I call you? Feels unfair to reload like this." I placed it carefully at the center of the table. Next morning, breakfast appeared as usual. Creamy grits, crispy breakfast sausages and fluffy buttermilk pancakes. Beside my note was another slip of paper in elegant cursive. Nathaniel Simmons. Nathaniel. Nice ring to it. Post-breakfast. I scribbled back, "Nate, Michelin star restaurants are missing out on you." Just idle chatter. That night, dinner was already laid out. And below my note, Nate had replied, "What's Michelin?" I snorted. Guess ghosts don't catch up on food trends. An idea struck me. Whipping out another sticky, I penned a wish list. Boston lobster, Kobe beef, white truffles, caviar, basically every luxury ingredient I could never afford. Then I glanced around guiltily at the silent living room. The air felt heavy. Leaving the note on the table, I slept uneasily. Next morning, I rushed to the kitchen only to find it bare. No lavish feast, not even basic breakfast. Did I scare Nate off? Sighing, I turned toward the freezer, until I spotted a familiar note tucked under the fruit bowl. Same handwriting, but terse, wasteful. I burst out laughing. Not only could Nate cook, he was frugal, perfect. Hurriedly, I apologized. Sorry, Nate. Just joking. Please. Simple home-cooked meals are perfect. Promise I won't ask for anything crazy again. Sure enough, dinner reappeared that night. Simple, wholesome and delicious as ever. Then one lazy weekend, the doorbell rang. Peeking through the peephole, I froze. Whitney Brown, my coworker, stood outside. What was she doing here? The workplace friendships had more authenticity than whatever this was between Whitney and me. Born with a silver spoon permanently wedged in her mouth, Whitney had perfected the art of looking down her nose. Quite literally, given her towering Gucci heels. Especially at plebeians like me, who cheered over half-price pizza coupons. I opened the door. There she stood. One manicured finger hovering delicately beneath her nostrils. Like she just sniffed expired milk. Christ, Casey, she drawled. You actually live in this cracker box? Her judgmental gaze swept over my modest apartment. I heard the rent was suspiciously cheap. What is it? Haunted. I kept my voice flat. Great location. Plenty of sunlight, friendly neighbors. Her laugh was a shrill parody of amusement. Neighbors, please. You couldn't pay me to ride the elevator here past midnight. She leaned in conspiratorially. They say someone died in this building. Clearly, she'd come looking for a fight. I moved to shut the door, only for Whitney to slither past me inside. Don't be rude, she chided. Already prowling the living room like a cat. Inspecting a suspicious litter box. Her nose crinkled. Theatrically, huh? No takeout containers. That's unexpected. Then she stopped dead at the dining table. Eyes locked on the Victorian silver candelabra. I definitely hadn't bought. Now this, she purred, circling. It has taste. Where'd you score it? Every muscle in my back seized. Just a whore, I lied. Whitney narrowed her eyes and reached for it. Bet it's worth. Don't. Too late, the candelabra slipped from her grasp. Plummeting toward the tile floor. Horror choked me until it froze midair. Hovering half an inch from certain destruction. Time stopped. Whitney's face cycled through shades of red, white and finally corpse gray, as the candelabra drifted gently back onto the table. Like it had never moved. Silence. Thick, suffocating. Her trembling finger pointed at the candelabra that it just. Her sentence shattered into a scream worthy of a horror movie. Extra heels clattering desperately toward the exit. I watched her flee side, then address the empty room. Nathaniel, we discussed keeping ghost stuff. Subtle silence. That candelabra breaks. I'll garnish your afterlife wages. No response. Not that I expected one. That sleepless night, I did something unprecedented. I talked to him, really talked. I ranted about Whitney, about office politics. About how exhausting it was. Pretending my paycheck didn't vanish the second rent was due. Words poured out until exhaustion dragged me under. Then cold. I woke shivering violently at 4 a.m. Blankets piled uselessly atop me. My phone buzzed with an alert. Utility bill, 3,050 wires. My sleep-addled brain rebooted twice before comprehension struck. $3,850 for a studio apartment. Pieces clicked, automatic faucets turning on inexplicably. The TV flickering alive at odd hours. Impossibly lavish meals appearing without a heat source. Ghosts don't just exist, they suck power like a fleet of crypto miners. White-hot rage. Overrode logic. Nathaniel Simmons, I roared at the ceiling. Get your spectral ass in here now. Darkness twisted. Every bulb in the apartment surged violently, as shadows in the corner detached themselves from the walls, coalescing into something tall, nebulous and glacially furious. The temperature plunged. Then came the voice. Not audible but scalding directly into my skull. Say that again. Fear shot through my veins like electricity. Lasted only a moment. The next second, burning indignation overtook me. I shoved my phone, displaying a bill for $3,800 straight into the shadow's face. See this? You're responsible for paying it. I planted my feet stubbornly. Open your eyes and look. $3,800. Do you have any idea how many months I have to work to save that much? After this bill, I'll be sleeping under a bridge. You spend all day manifesting meals and floating objects, while my electric meter spins like a carousel. The shadow appeared to waver. The flickering fluorescent lights gradually steadied. The temperature in the room crept back up. That cold voice spoke again, though this time with a hint of offended dignity. I possess no currency. I nearly laughed in disbelief. You're broke and you're saying it like it's nothing. Crossing my arms, I switched into lecture mode. Nathaniel, we need ground rules. Roommates split the bills. Cooking in exchange for rent is fine, but you don't get unlimited power. Starting now, no turning on the TV unnecessarily. Meals simplified to 2 dishes and a soup. And absolutely no supernatural displays in front of living people. You know how expensive therapy bills are. I laid down every condition without taking a breath. The shadow listened in silence like a scolded student. Only after I finished did it slowly melt back into the darkness of the corner. A single word echoed in my mind. Understood. I exhaled long and hard, feeling like a prime minister after high-stakes negotiations. This might be paranormal. History's first successful case of debt collection from a ghost. Then on, Nathaniel did cut back. No more TV switching on in the dead of night. Dinner scaled back from lavish spreads to simple home-cooked meals. Though the portions were smaller, The flavor never wavered. We slipped into a strange symbiotic rhythm. Hot meals waited for me every evening. The apartment stayed spotless, without a speck of dust. I even started leaving him allowance. No clue what spirits need cash for, but it helped my conscience. Whenever I tucked bills under a saucer, I joke, go catch a phantom movie. My treat. Even without seeing him, the place grew unmistakably warmer. As for Whitney, after fleeing that night, she doubled down on tormenting me at work. Of course, she never breathed a word about the candlestick incident. No one would believe her anyway. So she channeled her frustrations into professional sabotage. Then came the crisis. Our director demanded a project done in 72 hours. Our manager assigned core data analysis to Whitney and me. She flashed a saccharine smile. Oh, Casey, dear. If anyone can handle Excel, it's you. My grandma's hospitalized. So predictably, she vanished. By 5 p.m. sharp, leaving me holding the bag. I was the only one left in the office as I worked overtime. My head was pounding from staring at the endless spread of data on my screen. I did not get back to my apartment until it was almost 1 in the morning. A bowl of chicken soup was waiting for me on the table, still warm. A wave of gratitude washed over me. I drank the soup and passed out on my bed. The next morning, my alarm blared. I opened my eyes, and the memory of my unfinished work hit me immediately. I groaned, dragged myself out of bed and booted up my laptop. When I looked at the screen, I froze. The spreadsheet, which had been a chaotic warzone of empty cells and mismatched data only hours ago, was full. But it wasn't just completed, it was a work of art. The data was organized with a military precision that bordered on obsessive. However, something was off. I clicked on a cell. The formula wasn't a standard Excel function. It was a complex logic chain I'd never seen before, efficient and brutal. And the font? The entire document had been changed from Calibri to a sharp, elegant serif that looked like it belonged on a Declaration of Independence. I scrolled to the comments section. Where I usually left notes like, check this later, there was a new annotation in that familiar, digital cursive. The debit column provided by the brown woman was rife with arithmetic fallacies. I have rectified the accounts. Do not let her handle coin again. She possesses the financial acumen of a damp turnip. I choked back a laugh. Nathaniel? I whispered. The air conditioner vent rattled in acknowledgement. I checked the timestamp. The document had been saved at 4:15 a.m. I did the math. He had done 3 days of work in 3 hours. I grabbed a sticky note. You know Excel. I went to the kitchen to grab coffee, and when I returned, the cursor on my screen was blinking in a new cell. Words appeared, typing themselves out character by character. It is merely a glorified ledger. Mathematics is a universal language, Casey. Though I admit, the mouse device is clumsy. I prefer a quill. I packed my bag, feeling a surge of confidence I hadn't felt in years. Nate, I called out, grabbing my keys. I'm buying you the finest virtual incense money can buy. The lights flickered once, a ghostly thumbs up. The conference room smelled of stale coffee and fear. Whitney was there, looking fresh and predatory in a white blazer, having clearly slept a full 8 hours while I was supposedly slaving away. So, the director began, tapping his pen. The deadline was tight. Whitney, Casey, where do we stand on the core analysis? Whitney jumped in before I could inhale. Actually, sir, I was up all night coordinating with the remote team. Casey was struggling with the raw data, so I had to step in and restructure the entire back end. It's barely finished, but... It's done, I interrupted. My voice didn't shake. Whitney blinked. Excuse me. I plugged my laptop into the projector. The screen lit up with Nathaniel's masterpiece. The serif font loomed large and authoritative. I analyzed the last 5 years of projections, I said, channeling the ghostly dignity of my roommate. I also found significant discrepancies in the previous quarter's budget. The director squinted at the screen. Is that an actuarial pivot table? I haven't seen one of these since I worked in London in the 90s. It's a classic method, I lied. Smoothie. Efficient. Whitney's smile faltered. Casey, dear, let's not bore them with formatting. The numbers. The numbers indicate we're bleeding money in vendor contracts. I pointed to a column Nate had highlighted in blood red. Specifically, contracts managed by the external relations team. That was Whitney's department. The room went silent. The director leaned forward, ignoring Whitney entirely. Walk me through this, Casey. For the next hour, I didn't just present, I performed. I felt a strange coldness at my shoulder, a steadying presence. When I faltered on a figure, the answer seemed to whisper into my ear, not audibly, but a thought placed directly into my brain. Compound interest, you fool. By the end of the meeting, Whitney looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. The director stood up and shook my hand. Excellent work, Casey. This old world approach to the data. It's refreshing. Rigorous. As we filed out, Whitney grabbed my arm. Her grip was tight, her nails digging in. Who helped you? She hissed. You can't do math like that. You use a calculator to tip at diners. I took a seminar, I smiled, pulling my arm free. It's called, Mind Your Own Business. You should try it. She stared at me, her eyes narrowing into slits. You're hiding something, Casey. And I'm going to find out what it is. Nobody lives in that building without skeletons. I walked away, my heart hammering. She didn't know how right she was. That night, the celebration dinner was subdued. Nate had prepared a simple beef stew, likely because I'd lectured him about the electric bill again. I sat at the table, the silence heavy. Nate? The kitchen faucet dripped once. Why are you here? I asked. I mean. Whitney said someone died here. The landlord said, bloody history. You're good with money. You're domestic. You don't seem like an axe murderer. The air grew cold. A sticky note slid across the table, propelled by an unseen finger. I was not the murderer. I was the accountant. I waited. Another note followed. 1922, I managed the assets for the Boardwalk Gang. I thought I was simply balancing books for an import business. When I discovered they were trafficking more than just alcohol. I tried to go to the police. I read the note, a chill running down my spine. They found me in this very room. They wanted the ledger. I swallowed the key to the safe deposit box. They cut me open to get it. I stared at the spot near the kitchen island where he usually left the roast chicken. My stomach turned. Nate. I'm so sorry. It was a long time ago. The carpet has been replaced. Twice. Is that why you're stuck? I died with unfinished business. The money, my legitimate earnings, was never found. I hid it well. I cannot leave until my debt is paid. What debt? My sister. She died in poverty because I couldn't get the funds to her. I failed my family. Now, I simply exist. And I pay the utilities. I laughed through the sudden tears pricking my eyes. You're a good roommate, Nate. Murderous gangsters aside. You are tolerable, Casey. Though your taste in shoes is atrocious. 2 weeks passed. Life was good. Nate started day trading using a small account I set up for him. He hovered, at the laptop while I was at work, turning $500 into $5,000 in a week by analyzing market trends with supernatural speed. We split the profits 50/50. He used his half to buy premium cable packages and, weirdly, digital subscriptions to architectural magazines. But Whitney hadn't given up. It started with small things. Random drug tests at work ordered by anonymous tips. My tires getting slashed. Then, she escalated. I came home one Tuesday to find a man standing outside my apartment door. He wore a trench coat and held a device that looked like a Geiger counter glued to a toaster. Can I help you? I asked, gripping my pepper spray. Readings are off the charts, the man muttered, ignoring me. Class 4 vapor. Intelligent. Angry. Who are you? My name is Arthur Pym. Paranormal consultant. A Ms. Brown hired me. Said she's concerned for your safety. Said you're under the influence of a dark entity. My blood went cold. I'm fine. Leave. Pym looked at me with sad, tired eyes. Miss, if you're feeding it, it will eventually consume you. Ghosts are like stray cats. They don't leave. He pays rent. I snapped. Pym paused. He pays rent? Leave, I warned. He handed me a card. When the walls start bleeding, call me. I slammed the door and locked it. Nate? The TV turned on. It was the Food Network. Chopped. Whitney hired a ghost hunter. The volume on the TV went up. Nate wasn't scared. He was annoyed. The breaking point came on a Friday. I had been promoted. The director made me senior analyst, effectively making me Whitney's equal. She didn't take it well. She stormed out of the office at noon. When I got home, the door was unlocked. My heart stopped. I pushed it open. Whitney was in my living room. But she wasn't alone. Arthur Pym was there, along with two other guys who looked like linebacker priests. They were setting up salt lines. What the hell are you doing? I screamed, dropping my bag. Saving you, Whitney smirked. She held a heavy iron crucifix. And proving you're mentally unstable. A girl who talks to walls isn't fit for senior analyst. Get out. Start it, Arthur, Whitney commanded. Pym looked hesitant, but he began chanting in Latin. The air in the room grew heavy. The temperature plummeted, but not the way Nate usually did it. This was oppressive, painful cold. Crack. My kitchen cabinets flew open. Plates shot out, shattering against the wall. Stop it. I yelled. It's manifesting. Pym shouted. Bind it. The two linebackers threw a net, an actual net made of silver wire, towards the corner where Nate usually stood. A howl tore through the room. It wasn't a spooky ghost moan, it was a sound of pure agony. The lights exploded. Sparks showered down. Nate. I scrambled forward, kicking the salt line. Don't cross the barrier. Pym warned. He's not hurting anyone. I grabbed the silver net. It burned my hands, searing cold heat, but I pulled. He cooks dinner. He does my taxes. He's my friend. Whitney laughed, a high, manic sound. Listen to her. She's insane. Suddenly, the floor shook. The Victorian candelabra, the one Whitney had almost broken weeks ago, lifted off the table. It didn't float gently this time. It vibrated with rage. The shadows in the room coalesced, not into the nebulous cloud from before, but into a distinct shape. A man. Tall, wearing a sharp 1920s suit, with a neatly trimmed beard and eyes that glowed like dying embers. Nathaniel was fully visible. And he looked pissed. Uncouth, Nathaniel's voice boomed, audible to everyone this time. You enter a gentleman's home without invitation. You threaten my tenant. Whitney shrieked and dropped the crucifix. Pym's jaw hit the floor. A full torso apparition. Class 5. Nathaniel pointed a spectral finger at Whitney. And you. The one with the cheap shoes and the cheaper soul. Whitney stumbled back. It's a trick. A hologram. You possess the manners of a feral hog, Nate thundered. He waved his hand. The fire sprinkler system above Whitney's head burst. But only the one above her. It wasn't water that came out. It was sludge. Black, oily sludge from the rusted pipes of the old building. She screamed as the muck ruined her white blazer, her hair, and her Gucci heels. Leave, Nate commanded. Before I calculate your remaining lifespan and deduct it. The two linebackers didn't need to be told twice. They bolted. Pym looked at Nate, then at me, and bowed respectfully before running. Whitney stood there, dripping black sludge, shaking. I'll sue, she whimpered. Get out, Whitney, I said, handing her a towel. And if you ever come back, I'm letting him handle the pest control. She fled. The silence returned, but the apartment was a wreck. Nate shimmered and faded back into transparency, though the air remained warm. Are you okay? I asked, looking at the corner. That was exhausting. A note appeared on the fridge. I may need to sleep for a week. Also, the repair bill for the lights will be substantial. I'll pay it, I said. You saved me. We are roommates. It is in the lease agreement. Clause 4, Mutual Defense. I smiled, sliding down to sit on the floor. You know, Pym said you can't leave because of the debt. The money for your sister. Yes. How much was it? Adjusted for inflation. Roughly $200,000 in today's currency. I looked at the laptop. At the trading account we'd been building. Nate, look at the portfolio. He paused. The laptop screen flickered. We had been aggressive. Very aggressive. And the market had rallied. We hit 210 this morning, I said. Tesla calls. Silence. You have the money, Nate. You can go. Donate it to her descendants. Or a charity in her name. The air grew still. A profound sadness filled the room. I could go, the note appeared slowly. I could finally rest. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I'd miss the cooking. But I don't want you to be trapped. Minutes ticked by. The cursor blinked. I have investigated my sister's lineage. Her great-granddaughter is a lovely woman in Ohio. She runs a cat sanctuary. She does not need the money, though she would appreciate it. So do it. However, Nate wrote, I have also analyzed the current housing market. If I leave, you will likely be forced to take in a living roommate to cover the rent. Statistically, there is a 40% chance they will steal your food, and a 90% chance they will not clean the lint trap. I laughed, wiping my eyes. Furthermore, I have just discovered the Great British Bake Off. There are 12 seasons. I cannot depart with such unfinished business. You're staying. For now. Until the market crashes or the SUFL rises. Besides, someone must teach you how to properly iron a blouse. You look like you wrestle bears. 6 months later. Whitney was fired. Turns out, the sludge incident made her snap, and she tried to sabotage the company server. She now works at a kiosk in the mall selling phone cases. I'm the director of analytics. My apartment is fully renovated. We bought a new stove, gas, professional grade. I walked in the door at 6 p.m. The smell of saffron risotto filled the air. I'm home. I called out. The TV turned on. Wipe your feet, a voice whispered through the Google Home speaker. We'd figured out he could manipulate the text-to-speech function. And check the coffee table. I found a loophole in the tax code regarding spectral dependence. I grinned, tossing my keys in the bowl. The candelabra on the table was lit, casting a warm, golden glow over the room. Thanks, Nate. You are welcome, Casey. Now wash up. The risotto waits for no one. Living with a ghost isn't normal. It's weird, expensive, and occasionally terrifying. But in a city of 8 million strangers, it's nice to come home to someone who knows exactly how you like your steak, even if he doesn't have a stomach to put it in. I sat down, picked up my fork, and raised a glass to the empty chair opposite me. To the best roommate in New York. The wine glass across from me lifted, clinked against mine with a gentle ching, and settled back down. To solvent assets, the speaker chirped. We ate in companionable silence, while the city lights twinkled outside, none the wiser.